The wrong nickname can kill attraction in 1 second, but the right one can create an emotional bond before the brain even catches up. Today, you're going to learn the psychology behind 9 cute nicknames women secretly love, and more importantly, how to use them in a way that builds instant emotional connection. If this is already changing how you see communication, hit like and subscribe because the next video goes even deeper into the psychology of attraction and influence. The power of a nickname is not in the word itself, but in the emotional identity it creates because the human brain does not respond to language logically. First, it responds emotionally before logic ever steps in. When you give someone a nickname, you are not just calling them something different, you are shaping the way they see themselves in your presence. This is why two people can hear the same word and feel completely different about it, depending on who says it and how it is said. A nickname becomes a mirror that reflects a certain version of them back to themselves, and over time, they start to live inside that version. If you call someone something that makes them feel warm, valued, or special, their nervous system begins to associate you with safety and positive emotion. This is basic conditioning. The same way a song can remind someone of a moment or a smell can bring back a memory. A nickname becomes a trigger that brings back a feeling every time it is heard. And this is why random or careless nicknames fail, because they carry no emotional weight. But intentional nicknames work because they create a role, and humans naturally step into roles they are given. When someone is consistently called something that feels positive, they begin to feel more confident, more open, and more connected around the person who uses it. This is not manipulation, this is emotional leadership. You are setting the emotional tone of the interaction and guiding how the other person experiences themselves in that space. This is also why teasing nicknames can either build attraction or destroy it, depending on whether they feel safe or threatening. The brain always asks one question. First, am I safe here? If the answer is yes, the nickname builds closeness. If the answer is no, it creates distance. The smartest communicators understand that words are just vehicles. Emotion is the real message, and identity is the destination. So when you choose a nickname, you are really choosing what emotional identity you want someone to step into when they are with you, whether that is feeling admired, appreciated, relaxed, or understood. And once that identity is created, every interaction becomes easier because you are no longer starting from zero. You are continuing a story that already feels good. Most people choose nicknames randomly, but attraction responds to intention and tone because the human mind is always reading between the lines, looking for meaning behind behavior, not just the behavior itself. When a nickname is chosen without thought, it feels empty, even if the word itself sounds cute. But when a nickname is chosen with intention, it carries emotional direction, and that direction is what creates attraction. Intention tells the other person that you are aware, present, and emotionally engaged, which instantly separates you from everyone who communicates on autopilot tone, then becomes the amplifier of that intention, because the same words spoken with warmth, confidence, and calm can feel completely different than when spoken with nervousness or hesitation. The brain does not only hear the sound, it reads the emotional energy behind it, and that energy decides whether the nickname feels charming, awkward, or forced. This is why some people can say the simplest nickname and make it feel powerful, while others use the most creative word and still fail, because attraction is never about cleverness. It is about emotional clarity. When your tone is steady and your intention is clear, the other person feels grounded around you, and that feeling of grounding creates trust, and trust is the foundation of attraction. People are naturally drawn to those who make them feel emotionally safe and seen, not just entertained. So when you choose a nickname with intention, you are silently communicating, I notice you, I value you, and I am comfortable expressing that value, which is a rare signal in a world full of mixed messages and emotional confusion. This is also why rushed nicknames feel strange, because the intention is unclear, and unclear intention always creates tension. But when the timing is right and the tone is calm, the nickname feels like a natural extension of the connection. Instead of a sudden move, the smartest communicators understand that every word carries subtext, and that subtext is what the nervous system responds to first. So they focus less on finding the perfect word and more on delivering a clear emotional message through the way they speak. Because when intention and tone align, even the simplest nickname becomes emotionally magnetic and starts building attraction without effort. A great nickname makes someone feel seen, not labeled, because the human need for recognition runs deeper than the need for attention. When people feel labeled, they feel reduced to a category. But when they feel seen, they feel understood. And there is a massive emotional difference between the two. Being labeled feels like someone is putting you in a box, while being seen feels like someone is looking into you and acknowledging something real about who you are. This is why generic nicknames often fall flat, because they sound like something that could be said to anyone. But meaningful nicknames feel personal because they reflect a specific quality, energy, or moment that only belongs to that connection. When someone hears a nickname that truly fits them, it creates a quiet moment of validation because it tells them that you are paying attention, not just to how they look, but to how they think, move, react, and exist in the world. And that level of attention is rare, which makes it powerful. Psychologically, the brain interprets being seen as safety, and safety opens the door to emotional closeness. This is why the same nickname can feel sweet from one person and empty from another, because the feeling behind it changes everything. A label talks at someone. A meaningful nickname speaks to someone, and people can always feel the difference. The moment a nickname makes someone feel understood, their guard naturally lowers, and when the guard lowers, connection becomes effortless. This is also why forced nicknames fail, because they try to create identity instead of recognizing it, and humans resist identities that feel imposed, but they embrace identities that feel discovered. When a nickname reflects something they already feel about themselves or something they secretly want to be, it becomes emotionally sticky. They start associating that version of themselves with you, and that creates a bond that feels natural, not constructed. The smartest communicators never rush to name someone. They observe first, they listen first, they let patterns reveal themselves, and then the nickname feels like a quiet acknowledgement of something that was already there. And that is what makes it powerful, because it does not announce itself. It simply fits. And when something fits emotionally, it feels effortless, authentic, and deeply connecting without needing to explain itself. The safest nicknames are built on energy, not appearance, because energy connects to how someone feels, while appearance only connects to how someone looks, and feelings always last longer than looks. In the emotional memory of the brain, when a nickname is based on appearance, it can feel nice in the moment, but it also creates pressure because appearance is temporary. And people instinctively know that when a nickname is based on energy, it feels safer because energy feels like something they own, not something that can be taken away. This is why words that reflect warmth, calm, playfulness, strength, or kindness land deeper than words that only describe physical traits. The nervous system relaxes when it feels appreciated for who someone is rather than how they appear, and relaxation is what creates real emotional closeness. This is also why appearance based nicknames can accidentally trigger insecurity, even when they are meant as compliments, because they draw attention to something that people already feel judged on. But energy based nicknames do the opposite. They remove judgment and replace it with acceptance. They tell someone, I like how you make the world feel when you are in it. And that message is powerful because it speaks to identity, not surface. The brain stores that kind of validation differently. It becomes part of how someone sees themselves in your presence, and over time, that creates a feeling of emotional safety that grows stronger with every interaction. This is why people remember how someone made them feel long after they forget the exact words that were said. When you choose a nickname that reflects energy, you are anchoring a positive emotional state to yourself. And every time that nickname is heard, that state comes back. This is basic emotional conditioning, but used in a natural human way, not as a trick, but as a way of deepening connection. The smartest communicators understand that attraction is not built by impressing. It is built by making someone feel understood and appreciated at a level deeper than appearance. When a nickname celebrates energy, it tells someone that their presence matters, not just their looks. And that is the kind of message that quietly builds trust, comfort, and emotional attachment without pressure or expectation, making the connection feel natural instead of forced, and lasting instead of temporary. Timing matters more than creativity when introducing a nickname, because the human brain is highly sensitive to emotional context, and the same word can feel completely different depending on the moment it is introduced. When timing is off, even the most clever nickname can feel awkward, forced, or uncomfortable. But when timing is right, even the simplest nickname feels natural and welcome. This is because people do not just hear words, they feel the situation around the words, and that feeling becomes attached to the meaning of what is said. A nickname introduced too early can feel like pressure because the emotional connection has not been built yet, and the nervous system reads that as something moving faster than it should, which creates resistance instead of attraction. On the other hand, when a nickname comes after shared laughter, shared trust, or a moment of emotional warmth, it feels like a natural extension of the bond instead of a sudden move. This is why timing is really about emotional readiness, not about finding the perfect word. The smartest communicators wait until the atmosphere feels relaxed and safe before adding anything personal, because they understand that people accept new identities only when they already feel comfortable in the connection. Creativity without timing feels like noise, but timing without creativity can still feel powerful because the emotional door is already open and the nickname simply walks in. This is also why some people remember a nickname forever, not because it was special, but because of the moment it was first used. Maybe it was said during a quiet conversation, or after a shared joke, or during a moment of support, and that emotional memory becomes permanently linked to the word the brain stores. Experiences, not vocabulary. So when you introduce a nickname at the right time, you are embedding it into a positive emotional experience that automatically makes it feel meaningful without needing to explain or justify it. This is why patience becomes one of the strongest communication skills. Waiting for the right moment shows emotional intelligence, and emotional intelligence is what builds real connection. The goal is never to rush identity, but to let it unfold naturally. Because when a nickname arrives at the perfect time, it feels less like something you created and more like something that was always meant to be there, making the connection feel effortless instead of engineered and genuine instead of planned. Confidence in delivery decides whether a nickname feels charming or awkward because people do not respond to words in isolation. They respond to the emotional certainty behind those words. When you say something with confidence, it signals to the other person that you are comfortable with yourself and comfortable with the moment, and that comfort creates safety. Safety then allows the other person to relax into the interaction instead of analyzing it. When a nickname is delivered with hesitation or self doubt, the brain of the listener instantly picks up on that uncertainty and starts questioning the intention. Even if the word itself is sweet, the energy behind it feels unstable. And instability always creates discomfort. This is why the same nickname can feel natural from one person and strange from another, because the difference is not vocabulary, it is emotional posture. Confident delivery tells the other person this feels normal, this fits here, and humans naturally trust what feels normal more than what feels forced. When your tone is calm, steady, and relaxed, the nickname slides into the conversation like it belongs there. And when something feels like it belongs, people rarely resist it. Confidence is not about being loud or dramatic. It is about being grounded. When you are grounded, your voice slows, your body language softens, and your words land with ease, and that ease becomes contagious. The other person begins to mirror that emotional state, and suddenly the nickname feels warm instead of awkward. This is why overthinking ruins good moments, because overthinking leaks into your tone and makes even simple words feel heavy. Confident communicators understand that delivery is emotional leadership. They are not just speaking, they are guiding the emotional direction of the interaction. And when that direction is calm and assured, people follow naturally. This is also why confidence must be quiet, not performative. When confidence feels real, it invites connection. When it feels forced, it creates distance. The smartest communicators do not try to convince anyone, they simply express themselves as if what they are saying already makes sense, because in their mind it does. And that internal alignment shows up externally. Every time when a nickname is delivered from that place, it feels effortless, authentic, and welcome, because the other person is not reacting to the word. They are reacting to the certainty behind it, and certainty always feels safer than hesitation. And safety is what turns a simple nickname into something that feels charming instead of uncomfortable, and natural instead of staged. The best nicknames grow naturally from shared moments, because emotional connection is built through experience, not invention. And when a nickname comes from a real moment, it carries a story inside it that only the two of you truly understand. This makes it powerful because it is not just a word, it is a reminder of a feeling, a laugh, or a memory, and the brain attaches much more meaning to words that are linked to experiences than to words that are chosen randomly. When a nickname grows out of a shared moment, it feels earned, not assigned, and people instinctively respect what feels earned. This is why forced nicknames often feel awkward, because they appear out of nowhere. Without emotional roots, but natural nicknames feel like they belong because they are born from something real that already happened between you. This could be a small joke, a kind gesture, or a moment of support, and over time, that single moment becomes a quiet bond. Every time the nickname is used, that bond is refreshed and the emotional connection strengthens. This is how simple interactions turn into inside worlds that only two people share, and that sense of exclusivity is deeply attractive because it creates a feeling of being special, not in a loud way, but in a personal way. The human brain craves meaning, and shared moments create meaning effortlessly. This is also why people smile when they hear a nickname that reminds them of a good memory, because the feeling comes back before the thought does. Emotion always moves faster than logic. The smartest communicators understand this, and instead of trying to invent something clever, they stay present in the moment. They pay attention to what is happening naturally and let the nickname reveal itself through experience. This makes the connection feel organic instead of engineered. And organic connections always feel stronger because they do not feel like they were designed, they feel like they happened. And when something feels like it happened naturally, people trust it more. And trust is the foundation of emotional closeness. A nickname that grows from shared moments becomes a symbol of that closeness, and symbols carry weight far beyond words because they represent what has already been built and what is already felt. And once that symbol exists, every time it is spoken, it quietly reminds both people that there is history there, that there is familiarity there, and that there is something real underneath the conversation. And that is what turns a simple nickname into an emotional shortcut back to connection every single time it is used. A nickname should always elevate, never embarrass, because the emotional brain remembers how something made it feel long before it remembers what was actually said. And when a nickname lifts someone emotionally, it becomes a source of warmth. But when it embarrasses them, it becomes a source of tension. Even if they smile on the surface, the nervous system still records the discomfort, and that discomfort quietly damages connection. Over time, elevation makes a person feel more confident, more valued, and more at ease in your presence, while embarrassment does the opposite by making them feel exposed, judged, or reduced in front of others. This is why the safest nicknames are the ones that create pride, not pressure. A nickname that elevates tells someone you are seen in a good way, and that message builds trust because trust grows when people feel emotionally protected, not emotionally tested. Many people think playful teasing builds attraction, but teasing only works when it feels safe. And safety only exists when the other person feels respected underneath the humor. Once a nickname crosses the line from light to uncomfortable, it stops being a bond and starts becoming a reminder that they are not fully safe in that interaction. The brain then shifts from connection mode to self protection mode, and self protection kills emotional closeness. Every time, elevation does not mean exaggeration, it means alignment. Choosing words that reflect the best version of someone or the version they feel proud to live up to. When you consistently use a nickname that makes someone feel good about themselves, they begin to associate that positive self image with you. And that association becomes emotionally powerful because people are naturally drawn to those who make them feel better about who they are. This is also why public nicknames should be chosen with even more care, because what feels fine in private can feel exposing in front of others. Emotional intelligence means understanding context, not just intention. The smartest communicators always ask one silent question before using a nickname. Will this make them feel stronger or smaller? And they let that answer guide their choice, because connection is built by making people feel bigger in themselves, not smaller. Once a nickname becomes a source of pride, it turns into a quiet emotional anchor. Every time it is heard, it brings back the feeling of being valued, respected, and understood, and that feeling becomes part of how the person experiences the relationship itself, making the bond deeper without needing to say anything else.